everyone to the Outtakes Movie Podcast. I'm Sam and we're still going on a quest to go through every single movie ever made and objectively rank them best to worst of all time. And I am indeed joined by my entire full, fantastic, amazing team. Amelia, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Joe, what's going on, man?
I'm alright. I've recovered since last week.
Good, I'm glad.
So I'm feeling good.
And welcome back, Jacob.
Thank you. I'm back. I'm feeling better.
Good to have you, man.
So that's good.
This week, we are wrapping up our little Ghibli season with the movie that, basically just by obligation, I had to talk about Totoro at some point. So we're going all the way back to 1988. It is the 80s once again, and we're still denied a really good selection of pop charts, to be honest with you. We're kind of diving into the early 90s and things are just mostly odd, to be honest with you.
Oh, man.
Got Pet Shop Boys in at number 1 with Heart, Fleetwood Mac coming in at number 4 with Everywhere, and
that's a good song.
That is a good song. Fleetwood Mac, any decade, Fleetwood Mac is good.
I love me some Fleetwood Mac, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And number 7, I Want You Back by Bananarama, and at number 10, I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. Which makes me think some people were buying the wrong song and just were not aware of what they were doing.
Which
and then
the Jackson 5 one?
So
is that the one that's like
the one in Guardians.
Yeah. And what's your back?
That's like the 70s. Isn't that like the 70s?
So it is the 70s, but they remastered it in 88, and people were buying that.
So which song was the wrong song?
I'm gonna guess it was Bananarama.
See, isn't that one that was like, I Want You Back? Or that one?
That
one. I know that one, I think.
The one you're thinking of is the Backstreet Boys one.
I was about to say.
Oh my god. Jesus. It's too many songs.
This is the thing is when you Google or like go on Spotify and search for I Want You Back, you get the Backstreet Boys one, you get the Jackson 5 ones, but you do not get the Bananarama one unless you start putting in the word banana. Like, you have to go out of your way to get it.
There's too many songs written by people who can't get over their ex, you know what I mean? Just get on with it.
Yeah.
Get over it, you know what I mean? Just write a new song about someone new. There you go, that'll help you get over it.
Perhaps you should write an album called like Getting Over It with Joe Owen, and that it's like 11 songs specifically about just moving on. Each
word is a part of a sentence, and the whole sentence and the whole album just adds up to saying like, for fucking hell, just get over it or something. Track
1 is called Fucking, and track 2 is Hell. I like it. I'm here for this.
Last one's just... And then the very last one is something like, I Want You Back, something like that.
After all that.
It's a bonus track. Secret track on the CD. Over in the world of video games, literally nothing was happening in the entire month of April in 88. It was a pretty good year for games, but nothing at all was happening. The literal only bit of information I found was that this month, an arcade game called Assault was released, which according to Wikipedia might be the first instance of sprites rotating with the background. How thrilling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Assault.
Just called Assault. What was the 80s, man? You could just call your game football or golf. Or, you know what I mean?
True.
Who's going to challenge you?
I mean, true. Good point. Good call.
But over in Japan, Hayao Miyazaki was making his second movie, My Neighbor Totoro, and it would slowly but surely become beloved by many, many children all over the globe. And we're going to talk about it now. Now, this is, I think, going to be a weird one. I don't know if I'm going to break down the plot as thoroughly as we normally do, because I'd end up just going, and then they do this, and then this happens, and then that. A lot. Like, a lot does happen. None of it's really important. It's a collection of feelings and cute imagery, and...
That's kind of what we've all been doing for the past 3 episodes, too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to say, we could just kind of talk about Ghibli in general and how we felt about doing it, and how we felt about these movies, because it's one of these weird things where I did enjoy this movie more than I thought I was going to, but I was very, very keenly aware that I was not the target demographic for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a whole hour and 20 minutes of wholesome fun with a little bit of BuzzFeed Unsolved at the end, but they solve it, so it's fine.
BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Yeah. Well, okay,
feels
no,
like
sorry,
a deep
BuzzFeed
cut.
Solved then, I guess. Yeah. But, no, it's all good.
So yeah, we start off very similar to last week with a family moving. We got a dad, the Kusa-Kobe family, a dad who's a professor, and two little girls, Satsuki and Mei, who are both very, very young. It's a really nice little playful atmosphere, and we basically have like the polar opposite to Spirited Away. You know, Chihiro didn't want to move, and she was being a brat, and she was clinging on to things past, whereas these two little girls, they're happy. They're like, oh, look at the countryside, Dad. Look at, oh, this is beautiful. Oh, my God. Apparently, this is because Miyazaki...
Very aware that what they're doing in the back of the truck is very illegal as well.
Yeah, I know.
Like, oh, no, it's fine. It's not a policeman. It's fine. Dad's not going to get arrested. It's all good.
Have you ever read
All
it?
that.
Have you ever rode in the back of a truck illegally? Not like, not for like immigration purposes, you know, just, you know, like in the back of a mate's van or something.
Is that why they're doing it? Is it an immigration thing?
No, I'm just saying it sounded like it sounded like I was implicating you by asking that question.
Sneaking into Scotland, just through it in the back of my mate's car or something like that.
I've personally not done it, but I have ridden in a van where there's been too many people and one of the people has gone in the back, and it is a funny experience.
I wasn't in a van, but I was definitely in a car. I've done that before.
Like in the boot?
I was in a boot once.
No, we have
I was in the
three
boot
people
once.
sat on the seats, and then a fourth person sat on the middle person.
Oh, right.
And then two people in the front seat. It wasn't very far, but
And I've been like...
very illegal
yeah,
still.
The only closest that I have is probably riding in someone's boot on the way
You've
to
actually ridden in a boot?
Yeah, so my mate got his car, and we were like, hey, do you reckon someone could fit in that boot? And I did, so we rode to Starbucks in it, and it was an okay journey. I didn't die, we didn't get stopped by the police. Wholesome fun all around.
What would you have done if your mates had got stopped by the police, though?
It would have been like in a film where something dodgy's going on and the boot just opens and someone just runs out the back and disappears. I would have done that just to make my friends look like they've kidnapped me or something. But like, I would have done it and then just re-emerged just like 2 minutes later. Oh, sorry. No, sorry. It's all good.
And then you would get arrested for wasting police time, presumably. You would.
Probably, yeah. But like, you know.
But yeah, so they're going into countryside. Apparently, this was Miyazaki apparently he made this movie very much for himself. It took him a very long time to get made, and he says, when I was a kid, I didn't care about Japan. But as I got older, I learned it was actually quite beautiful. So I am making this movie to tell childhood me, think this country's all right, you know? Open your eyes. Get off your Game Boy, you damn youth, you know? And yeah, so, and the girls were really excited to get into their new home, and immediately the countryside kind of elicits this fantasy world to them. You know, like straight away they encounter the soot sprites. So nice, we did them twice. This was, you know, 88, 2001. And they're cute, and
is it meant to be because the spirits or something? I mean, that's what I get what it is in Spirited Away.
Yeah.
That, like, because it's spirits in the spirit world, they're in both. So I'd assume that's what it's meant to be.
Yeah,
It must be inspired by something real. Like,
well,
the whole thing in Spirited Away was that.
I don't know if soot sprites in particular are just a Miyazaki thing. Again, this is me not quite knowing enough about Japanese folklore, but while interviewing in regards to this movie, he said he didn't want to draw from folklore at all. He wanted to write an entirely original thing. When I first watched this movie a long time ago, I kind of read the soot sprites as like a potential explanation for that phenomenon of just the way light creeps into a room, and it can appear that shadows make things move briefly, and then your eyes adjust and you realize what's going on. Perhaps that's what a young Miyazaki kind of thought was going on. I don't know.
Fair enough. And then he used them again.
He used them again, and he dropped rocks on their heads for a laugh.
He did, yeah.
I mean, May fully squishes one, though. Are we going to forget that she murders one?
She does murder one. I was curious about that because shortly after this, we meet Granny, just an old woman who lives nearby, who wants to help the family, and she's like,
demands that she gets called Granny as well.
Yes. Well, she's
was
a
very
nice old
strange.
lady.
Right. See, this is the thing, right? Is it
Still
like a
weird.
thing that he does? Is called random old women Granny? Because they do it in
That's the
Spirited
thing.
Away as well at the end. He's like, oh,
They do?
I used to just call all old women Granny. So, I mean, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't call my nan's friends Granny. You know?
I mean, I wouldn't call
my
them
Granny.
Nan, but like I had an auntie Christine growing up that wasn't my auntie, who was
I
just a
have
family
aunties,
friend.
Yeah, I have an auntie who's like a family friend. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. I suppose. She's
So
not
you
got
don't
like
need
an
to be
actual
like
nan.
an auntie if you're a family friend. If you're just well old, you have to be a granny.
yeah. If
Is
you're
that how it
pushing
works?
90, you have to be a granny now. But she's like, yeah, I'll help you out. I'll look after the kids and stuff. And she tells them like they're probably just deciding whether or not they want to stay. And then May like murders one. And then they all go into the tree. So I guess, oh, fuck this, lads. Jesus Christ.
Oof.
So yeah, the fantasy world sort of immediately like goes for it. They call them gremlins at the start, and then later call them such sprites. I really don't think that's an indication of anything. I just think that's them learning stuff. So they settle in, and we get this like really weird shot. Right, they've unpacked all this stuff, and this we keep having to experience weird things in Ghibli movies, and weird things are spirits. Weird things. I'm fine with that. There's this one really weird top-down shot where they're in the bath.
No, I don't like it. It freaked me out. Like
I just rewatched it and Zach was like, oh, I forgot about this, and just walked out.
Dad's in the bath. May's in the bath, and she's the only thing obscuring his penis because his legs are kimbo. You know, it's proper
It's so
starfishing.
round.
Oh, there's just something off about it, isn't there? It's
No,
like,
I've got it up on the TV. I'm gonna get it back up again. Where is it?
Why?
I'm not joking. I don't know if I can twist this. Hang on, let me get to it. Hang on.
You're gonna get us
You're gonna
demonetized.
show it. We've all seen it. I don't want to see it again.
you're gonna get
I'll show you
You're gonna
again.
get like we're gonna get like taken down because of like bloody profanity.
Hang
No,
on,
profanity.
it's
What's
about
the-
to
What rating is this
happen.
film, by the
The
way?
nonce patrol. You.
There we
It's
go.
you.
Oi, oi.
Oh god, no! I don't.
Jesus.
The bottle does the job. Even that was better than it is in the film. Oh no.
Oh, I don't want to hang on. I don't want to leave it there.
I mean, the whole scene isn't even that much better, really, is it? Like,
No.
it's all weird and like.
They just start laughing.
No.
It's
Really
very
creepy.
strange.
The kind of like point and feeling of it that's supposed to be there is that they hear scary noises and Dad helps them out. The dad, who we don't get the name of just the Professor Kusakabe, he's a real lovely bloke. He's a real fucking good dad. He's working all the time. He's worried about his wife who's sick in hospital. He's got 2 kids to look after and is moving, and he's always got a smile on his face. Always having a laugh.
What a guy.
Yeah.
Which is the most unrealistic thing about this movie.
I was gonna say I can't do that.
We don't really know why the mum is in hospital, but she's ill with something. And really, the mum being out of the picture is a way to tell this coming of age story. Satsuki has had to grow up very fast in order to look after May while her dad's at work. They make a lot of points about saying that the mum's like, you look like me when I was your age, and my hair was like yours when but this is that and the other. Again, it's a collection of moods and themes rather than a story. I think this movie, more than any of the other ones, you can feel that Miyazaki style of animation, storyboards, what's a script, never heard of one, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, see, with this one though, I felt there was more of a. It felt like they had thought about the story more than. Like, there was still bits in it that were a bit, da-da-da. But like in Spirited Away, for example, It had the visuals to keep it up, but there were still elements of the story that didn't seem. It felt like loads of ideas, one after the other.
Yeah.
And then the visuals, the amazing visuals, just kind of like kept it together. I don't want to say have it glued together with, because like that makes it sound really crude. Like cemented down, and then they've got some marble over the top, and it's you know what I mean. Like it's full of ideas with minimal storytelling in between, nicely placed between visuals.
A lot like
Whereas
that
this-
sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Except that sentence was glued together. That wasn't beautiful sentence structure.
I think. What do you mean, like, because all the things we get shown in this are somewhat relevant in what happens at the end?
That's exactly what I was trying to say in a nice, simple question.
Nice.
Sentence.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Jacob.
No worries.
I would agree. This movie, apparently, from concept to creation, took 15 years.
Oof.
This was one of the first stories Miyazaki wanted to tell. He says that he was working in TV and he found himself in a dead-end job, and he said, if I stay at this, I'll die and have never produced anything of value. So he forced himself out of the job and tried to create things. So the first idea was to write a book, a children's book, and that was Totoro. But he really struggled to get it published and even made into a film. He says that at the time, a story about a fantasy creature, a superhero girl, and the Japanese countryside would not sell to anyone. And to that, I would say, today, that wouldn't sell to anyone, Miyazaki. It wasn't. I don't think that's an of-the-time thing. That's a very difficult idea to thrust forward. You got lucky. And even after Totoro becomes a global icon, I think you'd still struggle to get this movie made.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's certain things, isn't there? Like I feel like there's certain films that, like, an example of the opposite is Blade Runner, for example. They always credit that with starting the kind of cyberpunk genre.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the only thing that started it. So I feel like if you were making Blade Runner now, brand new, no one knew it, you were adapting that book, it would be quite easy if you pitched it as it's part of the cyberpunk theme.
Yeah.
It's like, because you have like Altered Carbon is the Netflix show. That's basically just like modern day Blade Runner essentially, but not modern day. But you know what I mean? Like
Fair.
it's.
I suppose
back
if
then,
you went to someone,
it was
if you
really
said
difficult
someone,
for 'em
I want to make a Totoro-esque children's film, you'd get away with it. But if you said, I wanted to make a children's movie in the countryside where nothing happens, you'd struggle to get the green light.
Like Train Spotting. It really surprised me that they got the funding to make that, honestly. Because if you read the book, it does not translate into film at all. It's ridiculous. And I feel like even now, if it wasn't made in the 90s, if you're trying to make it now, it'd still be incredibly difficult to try and get someone to fund it. Because it's a ridiculous book. He writes it how people speak. It's like reading someone's text if they were Scottish. It's ridiculous. That's the whole book. And the book changes perspective depending on, just out of nowhere. So I feel like this would be an example of something. Another example, because it'd be so difficult to sell that even now. But
So Satsuki goes to school, and while she goes off, May plays in the outdoors. She encounters tadpoles. She has some fun with them. She encounters a broken bucket. She has some fun with that, and then eventually she sees 2 tiny little Totoros. So there's a little white, spirity one that keeps fading away, which is called Chibi Totoro, and a little blue one, which is called Chu Totoro. In the movie, they don't say that at all, but Answering Media will refer to them as that. And they're cute, and they have a little play around, and she chases them. What have we thought throughout this journey? I mean, not every single one has had it, but what have we thought of Ghibli's little creature designs and little animated segments like this?
I like them.
Anyone?
They're
Yeah.
alright.
Likes them, really, yeah.
yeah, I like them. Yeah. Some of them, actually, no, I like them. Yeah.
There's
You've
a
got, like,
thing.
Gonna say bitch.
There's a thing to them that I think is very uniquely Japanese, but in a good way. Like, no Western animation team would produce creature designs like this or do things like this does. And this movie, in my opinion, has some horribly creepy shots in it that I wish it didn't have in it. Yes, Amelia. Like that.
Very much a visual gag.
But it is also what makes it stand out. The big eyes and the big grin. You don't get that anywhere else. For better or worse.
You only find stuff like that in bloody horror films, really, don't you?
Exactly.
So
It's so
Genuinely
creepy.
terrifying.
I'm trying to just push on. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to just... I can't see it. It's not there.
I love it. It's so creepy. I'm gonna leave it there.
So she chases the little Totoros, and they run into a bush, and she bumps into a bush, and then there's this tunnel that goes into the forest, and there's a big fucking tree. Good tree? Bad
Another
tree?
big tree.
I like these trees. I like that this is becoming a thing.
Yeah, I don't think this
I'm
is
enjoying
as
that.
good as the Castle in the Sky tree, but it is a nice tree.
Not as big.
Have we got a list of the...
Not an official
tree
list of
rankings?
trees.
We
We should like create an official
We need to get on
list
that.
of the trees.
Yeah.
It's
have to
still
pop it
better
up,
than the
so.
Vertigo tree, though, I feel.
Yeah.
No, not a tree.
That kicked it off, but I do think that's ranking quite low now.
It's not a...
Fine. It's not as pretty. That's true.
So she runs through into the trees and falls into this huge grotto where she has her first encounter with Totoro, and it's really cute. And she climbs on him and she plays with him and she falls asleep on him. What?
Really?
Amelia!
Disgusting.
You did that entirely.
She climbs on him, she plays with him, and then she falls asleep on him.
Oh,
That's
no.
like, good night.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
And you know for a fact the whole time he was like this.
So Totoro, I want to give another shout out to my boy who's back, and I didn't expect him to be. You all know him as the foxes from Castle in the Sky, and I know him better as Megatron, but Frank Welker is voicing Totoro and the cat bus in this. And I love that,
Because,
man.
wait. He screams into a mic for a
Yes,
bit and like
yes.
yawns into a mic.
Roar!
Wait, did we all watch the Disney version? Yeah.
Yeah, I assume so.
So,
The Netflix one.
she's right. Did anyone see who they played the two little girls?
Yeah, I know this. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I was really surprised that it was them two. You could hear it in the older girl's voice.
Do you want to
Well, not
explain it, Joe?
the No, go on, Sam. I'll give you that privilege.
Okay, it's Dakota and Ella Fanning, the
What?
real life sisters. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hear it in Dakota Fanning, I think. You can
Yeah,
hear,
yeah.
She sounds like she did in, like, Cat in the Hat in certain bits. But you can't tell with the younger one, can you? Because
No.
Yeah, but May's annoying,
I couldn't-
that's why. I zone her out.
She is annoying,
talk
but
into
she's a
the mic.
very convincing 4-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm
The 4-year-olds
Oh,
are
you know what,
annoying.
can
I
confirm.
feel like she would have been like. I'm actually gonna have a look. You continue, Sam. I'm gonna have a look. How old Ella is it? Ella, whatever. her
Ella
name is.
Fanning.
Like Elle.
The younger
Or is
one,
it Elle
yeah.
Fanning? I don't know. So that happens, and then they go off and look for it. While Sasuke begins looking for her, finds the hat at the entrance to the tunnel. When she gets there, the grotto has completely disappeared, and May's like, "No, I saw Totoro. I saw this weird bear monster." And the dad, instead of considering therapy, is like, "Ah, yes, you saw a spirit of the forest, and I believe you. And perhaps he just doesn't want me to see him." Fine, whatever. Doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to be a professor, but whatever. And we've previously met this character, but I only really feel the need to bring him up now. A character called Kanto, I think. Is that right? I'm saying that right?
Yeah, the young lad.
So he's a local boy that lives near them, and he's always wearing his like working gear. And he's clearly like another one of these themes and metaphors for coming of age, and he kind of fancies Satsuki, I think, but he also doesn't really like her because he has grown up very, very fast, and he doesn't really have those aspects of his childhood left, apart from like playing with planes and stuff in his spare time. Yes, Miyazaki, you like planes, I get it. But otherwise, he clearly kind of resents the childhood that they still have in some way. So he's kind of nervous and angry to talk to them at the start. But I bring him up because we actually experience a part of Satsuki's school day. She's got a very, very lovely class. They all are very polite, which is very unrealistic for a group of little kids. Her sister shows up with Granny at the gate, and they all do peer out the window, and they're like, "Whoa, look, your sister!" Which that is very realistic. That would disrupt the entire day.
Oh, 100%, yeah. It would, yeah.
Satsuki runs over, and apparently May's just been crying and insisted to come and see her. So Satsuki's like, "Right, I'll look after her for the day, and she'll have her crayons and stuff." On the way home, it's pouring and pouring and pouring with rain. Kanto sees them and is like, "I'm not going to give up my umbrella. I don't even like them. I don't like this girl. She's not cute. What?" And then last second, he's like, "Have this umbrella." But he does it in this forceful, he just goes, he keeps making noises at them aggressively. Unsurprisingly, they do not take the umbrella. Surprisingly, they don't call the police. Until eventually he just throws the umbrella at them and runs away. And he's got a big grin on his face because, I don't know, he's done his good deed for the day or something.
Didn't offer him to give him a ride home on the bike though, did he?
No?
Lives next door. Could at
I
least
know,
offer him.
right?
What a dickhead.
So they take his umbrella. It's full of holes. But they're thankful anyway. They get home, they get their own umbrellas, and they go to return his umbrella. His mum's giving him a rough time. She hits him. She's like, "You're a dirty boy. Don't like this, mum." She does say that though. She goes. I don't think she says you're a dirty boy. She says the girls show up, and she goes, "Oh, it wouldn't have mattered for him to be in the rain. He's such a dirty boy anyway."
Oof.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Does she hit him though? I don't remember her hitting him.
I swear she conks him on the head with a book.
She does, yeah.
Dush.
Like a polite, like, "Oh, you rascal."
Dush.
Not like a slapping him.
No.
Like,
kind of like the bonk
Even then
meme.
politely hitting on the head with a book, Joe. Like,
He does.
She punches him! Oh my god!
Oh my god.
nothing polite about that.
Fucking concussed. Oh my god.
Child abuse, you know, like. No wonder he's thinking like punching columns all the time. God.
So yeah, the girls give back the umbrella and he hides and he watches them leave, and it's still pissing it down. They're like, right, Dad's coming home from the university on the bus. We'll wait for him. Bus shows up, he's not there. So they wait for him. He's not there, and then we get the thing for this movie. Totoro makes his second appearance. Satsuki's first time encountering him.
Oh,
yes.
I'm back.
And he's got a little leaf on his head, and she offers him the spare umbrella, and he doesn't know what to do with it, and then he puts it over his head, and then we get the shot of them waiting in the rain, and then the tree starts dripping on him, and he starts to realize that it's not hitting him, and he enjoys the sound of the rain on the umbrella at the top. And it's very fucking cute.
God.
Very.
That's
I mean,
not though.
your model is not very cute, Amelia, but the scene is very
cute.
the
relevant.
What he sat on doesn't make that smile any less or more creepy.
Yeah, but this one's cuter. He's got a little. He's like giving you
Don't
something.
take that out of context.
Nice.
I'm
So
gonna haunt you with it.
Totoro is very grateful for the umbrella, and he gives them a little package.
Oh,
Does he now?
this is a child film. This was made for children. Children are.
You say this was made for children, but Totoro gives them the umbrella because his ride's here, and he's riding on absolute fucking raw nightmares.
No, right, Sam. You're right. You know, last week and the week before, you were saying how you'd pause the film, and then when you came back, something ridiculous would happen, right?
Yeah.
So, right, I was watching this film. I was watching it, just like, oh, yeah, this is nice, wholesome fun. I pause it as the lights, I'm like, because at this point, I'm thinking, oh my god, is the dad going to be, like, dead or something? Is this going to become really dark?
Yeah.
And then I see the shot of the headlights at the end of the road. I'm like, oh, it's fine, the dad's coming. I'll pause it here, get something to eat. And I'll go, no. And then Beth comes in the room as well. And I'm saying, oh, yeah, this is, it's a good film. I mean, it's wholesome, it's nice. I play it. I explain the whole thing about the dad. Oh, Jesus, look at it. Oh. I play, like, the whole thing about the dad. I explain, like, oh, I'm afraid the dad's going to die, but the dad's died, but that's fine. The headlights are showing down the road. And then I play it, and then that thing fucker shows up. And I'm like, have I played the same movie?
I should have got
here?
that,
What's
shouldn't
happened?
I?
What? Is that a Roomba?
Can't tell.
It's the cat bus, but by the people that awfully paint these.
Why would you want that?
So the cat
funny.
bus, for those fortunate enough to have never encountered it, is a gigantic 20-foot ginger cat with gigantic eyes, a terribly creepy smile. The eyes are lit up. It's covered in rats whose eyes also light up. Its back is a bus, but it's all molded out of its own fur, and the windows stretch open organically and awkwardly to become doors, and it's got like 10 legs.
I hate
Great.
it.
Oh,
I hate it. It's horrific.
man.
It is horrific.
It's horrifically
And-
great, though.
If you
It's
go
not horrific,
to
it's just horrific.
if you
it's
go
just
to the
nightmare
Ghibli
fuel,
Museum
as some
in
said.
Japan, you can get in one.
Get in one.
Love to.
You can get in one. Yeah, there's a
Is
there's a
it
big
like
one.
made of plastic, or does it actually like?
I assume it's
swash the way
coated
it
in
does?
fur. It is coated in fur. Like fake fur, obviously.
I never
but yeah.
want my buses to be coated in fur.
No, neither do I.
Cats,
can't-
yeah, sure, they can have fur. But buses, nah.
Yeah.
Who thought,
Oh.
let's get a bus and let's get a cat? Why would you want that? Oh,
Yeah, there we are. That's it.
No.
Yeah.
But then there's also
That's
that
horrible.
as well. I don't know where that exists.
I think that's inside. I think that's like a little play area
That
of
one?
some sort.
That one doesn't look as terrifying. That looks
It's
like
the-
you've
It's
got
the
a
way it
cat.
moves. I hate
And
the
you've
way it
turned-
moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these don't look as bad, right? If it's just a cat and it's a playground within the cat, there's still kind of dodgy stuff going on there. But that first
That
one,
was bro.
like, the first one's terrifying and the film is terrifying. But if it's a playground, I can get behind it. It doesn't freak me out too much.
I think the thing is, it's got the same energy to me. Like, I agree with you, Jacob, the way it moves. It's got the same energy as the fucking demon from the start of Princess Mononoke. With the like legs that just keep
Yeah.
appearing out of nowhere. And
Absolutely. And that thing was supposed to be scary.
yeah.
Is this thing supposed to be cute? Oh, no. Get it out. Stop.
I
It's
think
horrific.
it's supposed to be cute. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not. It's just
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, but that top's pretty damn cute. We weren't focused, but
That's an item of clothing with a picture on it.
yeah.
That's fine. Whatever. The
What, is
moving
it the
fucking...
gifts? Is it the gifts that you're not a fan of?
I don't like the movement. Look at
at
that.
it.
That's just not right. It's just not right. I
man.
don't like that. It's a bit like, alright, confession, no, sort of confession. Fucking hate spiders. Not happy
Yeah,
with them.
fair.
If one is just sat there, being still, I'm happy to just sort of ignore it. So, alright, you sat there, you're not doing anything, that's fine. When those
it's
fuckers
moving.
start running, and
Yeah.
their legs are going,
So I think it's wrong if you have more than two to have the same number of eyes as you do legs. That should be a universal rule. 2 eyes and 4 legs is fine. 2 eyes and 2 legs is fine. 8 eyes and 8 legs is wrong.
yes. What about I suppose also, 2 eyes and 0 legs, also wrong. Snakes, man. They're creepy as
Oh
fuck.
yeah.
So I'm glad you
I'm a
talked
snake.
about snakes because I thought you were talking about those poor people who were born without limbs. And you were just discriminating against them.
That's who I thought. That's what popped into my mind as well.
No!
And I was like, "Where's he going with this?"
That's dark.
Oh man.
That's horrific.
I don't know what's worse is that. You know what? No, the thing that's worse is the fact that I didn't think of snakes.
Yeah,
That's probably the
I
thing
think so
that's
too.
I
I'm in
thought
the wrong
snakes-
here.
There is no
yeah.
situation. Yeah. Snakes didn't
Oh,
even pop
fish.
into my mind.
Fish haven't got
Yeah,
legs.
you know, fish either as well.
And they have two
The thing that
eyes.
went
They aren't
popped
that
straight
creepy.
into my mind are, the people.
If
who
you have more than
don't
two,
have
you shouldn't have matching eyes and legs. That's my opinion.
But,
So, day. I don't know why this is a
Okay.
confusing prospect to you.
Well, I'm trying to think, is there a creature that has more than 2 eyes but less than 8?
Well, flies have like hundreds of eyes and they've only got 6 legs.
That's true.
And that's not that
I don't
bad.
know.
Yeah.
big eye. though.
That's not so bad. Flies aren't... I don't know.
See,
But
I get
if
that
they
they've got
had
all the
100
hundreds of
eyes and 100 legs, that's a problem,
Ooh.
right? If the numbers just can't match up. You can have more of both. They just aren't allowed to match. Or be near one another.
My brain hurts.
Okay, sure.
not to match. No, great. No, imagine a fly with like 100 legs. Imagine the way that would move.
It'd probably
That's
just be a wall at
horrific.
that point, wouldn't it? It
Small.
wouldn't have space for wings. It wouldn't be able to fly. It'd just sort of crawl everywhere.
It would be a ball, and the whole thing would be legs, and it'd be rolling,
Oh,
but it
let's
wouldn't be.
move on.
It'd be
This is
walking.
horrible.
Has
Kinda like
anyone
one of
ever
those
played that
soot
game?
things.
What's that game? Has anyone ever
What's
played the
up with
game?
those?
It's like, I'm just forget. I can't remember what the game's called. But in that, you become like this mass ball thing, and the legs. It's so grim. The legs appear, but like you're rolling, but you're not because there's legs on it, and it's grim. The whole point of it is it's grim.
Okay, I don't know what game you're talking about.
Brilliant.
So,
It's called Inside.
no.
How did you find that so quickly?
Very good. It's on my iPad.
Oh, right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So
It's very
days,
grim, but,
weeks, maybe a month passes since the cat bus incident, and in the meantime, Mei and Satsuki have opened up Totoro's gift, and inside is a ton of little acorns. So they're like, we're gonna plant some trees, and they wait and they wait and they wait, and the trees never come. And there is, I think, a genuinely cute bit where they write to their mom, and Satsuki says, May's getting really crabby about the fact that they're not growing. Here's May as a crab. And then there's just a drawing of a crab at the bottom. I think that's really cute.
Very cute.
It
In
is.
the night, though, the Totoros all show up and start bouncing around the acorn patch. And the girls wake up and see them. And they start joining them. And they lift their arms high in the air. And suddenly all the sprouts come out of the ground. And then this massive tree starts sprouting up and up and up forever. Is this erection
tree.
imagery?
Oh.
Oh.
It is a coming of age story.
I did awkwardly feel like the finished final tree resembled a mushroom cloud, and I think that was a mistake. And potentially just me, but it did kind of have that sort of... But I suppose that's also just a
Trees look
tree.
like that.
You know, trees do
there's
look
not
like
all
that.
trees. I remember when you were a kid and you used to draw a tree. as,
Yeah,
like,
you'd
one
draw
piece.
that,
That'd look
wouldn't
like
you?
a
Yeah.
mushroom cloud. It'd be like you know what I mean? It looks, I suppose, like a mushroom cloud. So.
Yeah, it's probably
Not that
all
much.
right. I just felt awkward about it. But it's this massive tree, and then
It kind of
Totoro...
does though.
Sorry?
You can kind of see it in that frame.
Yeah, that looks
Yeah.
like a mushroom cloud from this angle.
It's a
100%.
really narrow trunk and like big.
Yeah.
If I didn't know the context, I would assume that's a mushroom cloud, honestly.
Well, that's there, and I assume that was unintentional because I really don't think Miyazaki would be putting some of the most horrific imagery in Japan's history into a children's movie where only nice things are happening in the scene, you know?
Other than a fucking cat bus.
Well, the cat bus isn't
Yeah.
in the scene. You know what is in this scene? Totoro's fucking Beyblade collection. He's like, what? right? And it
Let
must
it rip.
it must be a rare one because it can fly, and none of mine could fly.
I don't remember.
If you pulled it hard enough, they fucking flew.
Right? He hops on, and the Totoros hop on, then May hops on, they fly, and they go to the top of the tree, and then they play music. And then they wake up in the morning, and the tree has not grown, it's just sprouted. Now, what
Right,
I want to know...
really quick.
Sorry, yeah, go on, Joe.
Yeah, just right. There's a bit in this. The dad is very chill about this whole situation. I suppose you could say that maybe he can't see it
Yeah.
because they don't seem to be able to see the cat bus or whatever. But he just casually looks up, like at the end, and he sees his children on top of this tree, and he's like, gets back to work.
Because that's what I was
like,
going to bring up, right? Is you either take this entire thing as being a dream and the imagination of the children as they're dealing with the potential loss of their mother, and Totoro, this fictional thing that they've invented, is becoming a surrogate mom and spending time with them, which is a potential reading. Or, because of things that happen in the third act, you accept that the spirits are real, only certain people can see them in certain circumstances, which means that the dad would look up and see his daughters in the sky, not in a tree, just whoop, 70 feet, my daughters are flying, I'm okay with this.
So, oh, alright, cool.
He should have been a little bit
It
concerned.
baffled me.
Even if he could see the tree,
Like-
he should have been, what the fuck? Where's that tree come from?
Not to mention, like, literally, like, what, half an hour before, his daughter was like, oh, Dad, are they going to sprout tomorrow? And he's like, yeah. And then there's a massive fuck-off trees in his garden, and he's not even that bothered. He's just like, well, it's not my problem, I've got work to do. It's just unrealistic, you know what I mean? Unrealistic.
So, later on, again, weeks, months, we don't really get a sense of time of how much is passing. Satsuki's hanging out with Granny. They get a telegram. It's from the hospital. Something's wrong with their mum. It properly freaks out the girls. Satsuki runs to try and call her dad. May tries to keep up. Can't keep up. She gets lost for a little bit. They get the news that actually things are probably okay. They just need to keep her in the hospital for a little bit longer. But May's freaking out and starts crying, and Satsuki's like, you need to grow up. Ah! And it's all fearsome. And they go home, and they're sulking and they're crying. And then Satsuki breaks down as well. And May sees this and realizes that her sister's perhaps not as strong as she once thought she was, and that they sort of need to grow up for one another and help each other out. So she goes forth with a corn in her arms and determination in her heart to walk like 30 miles to the hospital or whatever it is.
Fucking idiot.
What did they say? 3 hour walk or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Ridiculous. Donkulous is what
In
that
it.
is.
And she's got the corn because it's Granny's corn, and Granny reckons that her vegetables are so good that they beat modern medicine or something. So
Sure. Tesco has the same promise. That's why everyone's buying all the stuff in Tesco. That's why it's empty.
I was gonna say, if you can buy
Okay.
anything in Tesco at the minute.
You can buy anything anywhere
yeah.
at the minute.
I know, right? Jesus.
You know what,
Um,
right? My local shop has so much toilet paper, it's ridiculous. Carry on.
Are you going to be like
Where?
a toilet paper
Where?
dealer?
Where?
Yeah. Yeah. Me and
Right.
just come out, I'll sort you out, you know what I mean?
Right, real
But don't worry
talk.
about
I'm
it, pal.
expecting a shopping delivery tomorrow, and I don't expect Lou Roll to actually show up. I might take you up on that offer, Joe.
You know how they do
I
like,
mean-
we wouldn't have this available, so we replaced it with this.
Yes.
What do you reckon they'll replace your bog roll with? Like newspapers.
Toilet cleaner.
Newspaper. Sandpaper.
Oh,
Oh, no.
It's just a print, like, just, actually, I was going to go political, but I won't, never mind. Never mind.
You're a wiser man than I. So, May's
I'm
run
trying to learn
off.
from my Nancy by nature remarks. I'm not repeating that.
You just did.
Or I don't want to do something, I don't want to re-offend. I've already done that crime.
I went back and
offend.
checked, and every single time we made one of those jokes, the YouTube closed captions picked it up perfectly.
Oh no!
Hey, amazing.
Nonsense by nature.
Beautiful. I can't wait for like 10 years when that comes back and bites one of us in the ass. That's going to be amazing.
Oh dear.
So May's gone missing, and Satsuki goes off to look for her, and she's running around, and she can't find her, and the sun starts to go down. The whole village start looking, and they call Satsuki over, and they found this shoe in the river, and they're like, is this May's? Is this May's? And Satsuki goes, it's not hers. And Granny sighs as relief as she realizes it belongs to some other fucking dead girl.
I was gonna
I was
say.
thinking like... Someone's in that lake, but it's fine. It's not the person we're looking
Throws it back
for.
in.
Not worried
See,
about
right.
it at all.
See, right, this whole section though, I like proper felt it, because I remember like a couple of years ago, my sister went missing for like 3 hours, but like as it was going dark, and at first you're like, it's fine, she's around. Then an hour goes by and you're still looking, and you're like, okay, this is a bit, and then another hour goes by and it's legit start to get dark, and you get well worried, and then she fucking moses into the street. You're like, oh, how's it going? Everyone in the street looking for her. Like, oh, where have you been? Went to the shops. 3 fucking hours.
3 hours.
What the fuck?
Did you eventually seek the help of a giant bear spirit?
I did.
It's
that was
just
one of
a
the places we
Snorlax,
went, and my
really, isn't
parents
it?
didn't know
It
about
is
it.
basically a Snorlax.
It's
yeah.
just a
Yeah.
Snorlax.
It's a Snorlax
Yeah,
cosplaying as a bunny rabbit. That's
But did Snorlax come out or whatever before this?
after
Or after-
Totoro. Oh yeah.
Said
See,
it.
the difference is, when I was looking in the wooded areas, it wasn't nice Japan, where there's like lots of nice trees and big trees and things like
The
that.
crack
When I
house
was
in the corner.
when I was looking in the trees, it was trash was everywhere, needles were everywhere, So, England.
But
We
yeah,
have good places to see, though.
Satsuki
Well, not
does
where I live.
go into the tunnel and begs the spirits, like, please, Totoro, please actually be in there, I need your help. She goes into the grotto where Totoro is, she lands on top of him. Totoro looks at her, looks like he briefly considers eating her, and then instead decides to help her instead. He flies up into the sky, and he calls the nightmare fuel back. It darts along the Japanese countryside, and that's where you get the horrible shot of the door kind of opening up, and she steps
I love the
inside
sound.
him. And Satsuki and the cat bus eventually do find May. Satsuki and the cat bus eventually do find May, who's just gotten tired somewhere on the road and needs a bit of a sit down. The sisters embrace. It looks like the cat bus considers eating them, but again decides against it. They go back home. No, they don't go back home. They go to the hospital where they drop off the coin for their mom, and then that's basically it. Everything sort of ends quite sweetly. Everyone's friends. Kanto's got some friends. Granny's still about. The mum didn't die. I really expected the mum to die, like halfway through this. Mum
It's
didn't
not a
die.
Disney
Dad
film,
didn't die.
though, so. Oh no, it is a Disney film, but it wasn't a Disney film originally, so the mum's safe in this one.
And that's basically it.
See,
That's
did
My Neighbor
anyone-
Totoro.
But in the credits, though, it did kind of like what happened next in the cat,
Yeah.
like drawings in it. I didn't see there was like a baby in there. If they had like another child.
I didn't actually spot that, but fair dues. So even more happy.
There's like a baby and like
Media's gonna check for us.
I came to realize as well
Why is it
when
playing
the end theme started playing. That's one of the fucking noises your alarm can make, isn't it, on your phone?
I thought I honestly,
That's the theme tune to Totoro.
I
song
mean,
is-
this might just be me. I couldn't listen. I had to mute it. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it.
The
And at the
Totoro
beginning, I had
song
to
was
skip it at
slightly
the beginning
better than
as
the
well.
song at the beginning, because that was
Oh, in
awful.
the back with mum. Great.
I couldn't handle either of them, honestly. I skipped the one at the beginning because there was no skip intro on Netflix. It made me sad. I know it's a film, so it normally doesn't, but I feel like they should implement it. And then
You
the
on
one at
about
the end, I was
this?
curious to see. Yeah, that one, yeah. And then there's a few other shops afterwards.
Is there?
shots afterwards where
Let me keep going.
after that where they're like chilling with the baby and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, there's a baby there.
Apparently, this movie... So, I mean, lots of good things have been said about this movie, about its importance as a family movie, as a children's movie, how gorgeous it is. But it's a Ghibli movie. We're kind of used to that by now. And they went back in 88. But this film originally performed really bad. I couldn't actually find an opening number, but it's the lowest opening that a Ghibli movie has ever had. And... it wasn't until a year later, when they broadcast the film on TV, that suddenly it blew up in popularity. Supposedly, as a celebration for the film being broadcast on TV, Ghibli announced that there was a giveaway, that a local toy maker really loved Totoro and had made some Totoro plush toys, and if you want one, send us a postcard. And they got so many that all the postcards had to be delivered to them in a 3-ton truck.
Oof.
Nice.
Jesus.
They were not at all ready for the popularity of it. Miyazaki still considers it a mystery. He was like, I spent 15 years trying to get this movie made. It wasn't going to happen for good reason. And then it did happen and it bombed and that felt right. And now it feels wrong.
I love that. It's like, I made this movie and it did so bad, but it feels like it should have done bad, so... You know, I don't like that it's now successful.
Supposedly, Totoro in Japan is... people have been quoted as saying that Totoro in Japan is as recognizable to children there as Winnie the Pooh would be for us. And that overall, I think someone in the financial... It was either like the Financial Times, the New York Times wrote that Totoro as like a character is more popular than Mickey Mouse and his severely worse animated dreams could ever hope to be.
I mean, I don't mind him being bigger than Disney because he's fucking crazy.
Like, well, that's it. I think the thing is, I find. I mean, I say this as a 23-year-old, but like, I really liked Disney things growing up. I can't say I was ever a big fan of Mickey Mouse, and I didn't know anyone that was a big fan of Mickey Mouse.
I knew people who had Mickey Mouse stuff, but like I didn't really know. I used to watch the films with him in, you know, when he like adapted other stuff and put like they did like the Christmas Carol and they did like the Prince and the Pauper and Three Musketeers. I used to watch them, but not because it was Mickey Mouse, because it was Disney.
Like our boy Will, big shout up's got a tattoo of Totoro, and when I see people with something like that, I don't bat an eye because I'm just like, oh yeah, it's fucking Studio Ghibli, it's Totoro, it's fine. Yeah. If I saw someone with a Mickey Mouse tattoo, I would run away.
See, right, I think it's different though.
I don't think our generation necessarily grew up with the Mickey Mouse cartoons. Like, that was more of those who grew up in like the 50s.
That's true. We had Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a show that was, you know.
So that was, a very kind of weird recap of My Neighbor Totoro. I honestly didn't really know how to do it because, like I said, not a lot happens that's important. It's just feelings and emotions and animation and whatever, and that is a lot of Studio Ghibli. I felt describing this like I think you did last week, Joe. Describing it as I would in the pub, you know.
Yeah.
There's no
like,
real.
That's what it's about.
There's no real other way to do it.
Take a seat. Let me describe it. It's all good. Get the pipes in. Oh, I'm not allowed to do that now. Thanks, Boris Johnson.
So, what we're
that
gonna
joke
do now
will be so out of context in like a year. Fuck no.
Yeah.
No,
well,
no.
hopefully that dates badly, you know. I'm happy for that one to date badly. What we're going to do is going to go around in a circle giving any final thoughts we have on My Neighbor Totoro, and we're all going to give it a score out of 10, and I'm going to use maths to get an overall score out of 100 and see where it ranks on the list of the best to worst movies of all time. Amelia, kick us off.
So, like I said last week, I said I wasn't introduced to these films as a really young child, but as like a tween, whatever we'll call it. And I really like Totoro. It's one that me and my brother sit down to watch at least every like couple of years because like it's just something we love. I can't explain it. You know when you say that you just love something but you don't quite know why. I love Totoro. He's so fab. Like I said, character design is incredible. But every time I sit down to watch this movie, I remember nothing long happens. And I think that's fine for a kids' movie because at the end of the day, it's on in the background most of the time and then not really fucking paying attention. But that being said, I still really like this movie. I don't think it's as high as Spirited Away for me, but that's not because it's a bad film. So for me, I'm going to give this one an 8.
8. Jacob, given you didn't even like Spirited Away, I've not got high hopes for you liking this one.
Well, Spirited Away was just fucking weird, right? And it was 2 hours of it. I wasn't able to express my thoughts last week, but it was fucking long and it didn't stop. It just didn't stop. This one, I didn't mind as much. It was more... It was basically, when I first started watching, I was, oh, it's like Monsters, Inc. Little girl finds big thing, helps her out, blah, blah, blah. And I like Monsters, Inc. As we know, if you want to check out our episode of Monsters, Inc., you can go and do that. That was a really bad segue. But...
Should have got a plug, but...
Yeah.
Also, it was only an hour and a half, which I liked.
That did help, yeah.
I like that, yeah.
Although these Ghibli films have a habit of feeling as just disjointed as that Digimon movie we watched, in that it's just stuff.
I don't know that I got that far.
I'm not trying to plug it another episode, but it's just stuff happens for a bit. And sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's just like a collection of ideas. Anyway, I thought this was better than Spirited Away. I didn't pay loads of attention to it because it was just on, but yeah, 6.
6. Joe?
I don't know. I'm like, because right, the thing with it is, I think I preferred Spirited Away purely based on the fact that Spirited Away was so weird and unique, and not that this film isn't unique, but it's a bit more of it's for a younger audience, and you can tell, so you can't go with loads of high concept stuff for it. It's a nice, easy to follow story, nice, wholesome fun. It's all good. Spirited Away, there's more to dissect there, and there's more visuals and stuff. So I'm gonna give this one. Ooh. I'll give it a 7.
7. Yeah, I did like it more than I thought it was going to going in. I very much did feel the sense of obligation going into it, but it's a weird one. My Neighbor Totoro beautifully captures the spirit of like childhood. You know, I personally can recount many a time that I would go to my granddad's allotment and run down to the area where there was just plants and stuff and like play. And I can't tell you what I was playing. I didn't have any toys with me. I was just in amongst trees and stuff and, you know, having a good time, and I wasn't doing very much at all. And that's what this movie is. And whether or not that makes a good movie, I don't know, but it does make it honest. So it's really valuable. If you wanted to put this on for your kids, I think that's the best way to do it. I do really love Totoro as a character, despite the fact that he is kind of creepy. Like, I kind of want to own some Totoro merch just because there's something about that design that's brilliantly iconic. Maybe not that exact thing, but I wouldn't mind like a plushie or something. But I think I don't think I could give it any higher than a 7 as well, which gives us an overall score of 70 out of 100, which places it as the 14th greatest movie of all time. Firmly in the middle. Which brings us to the most important part of the show, and that's finding out what we're going to be watching next week. Amelia, let us know.
Guess who remembered at the start of the video? Because I was like, shit, it's Sam! I'm after Sam! But it's fine, because like I say, I had kind of had a thing, like a thought about it or whatever. So, we're sticking with the 80s, and obviously these are films that for some of us we've never watched before, we know nothing. So I just thought we'll bring it back around, we'll go for something that we all kind of know and love, maybe love, we'll find out. And also I'm still on quite a big hype of it.
Nice.
Because I just saw it in musical form We're going to be
Get
going
in.
back to 1985.
We're gonna going
gonna
back in time.
back in
Very
time.
nice.
We're watching
Awesome.
Back to the Future Part 1.
Nice,
Love it.
nice. I'm very excited. I've
that.
not watched Back to the Future in a very long time, and I keep having this thought to myself where I'll just stop and I'll be like, "Is Back to the Future good?" And I think it is good, but it's been so long. Do you know what I mean? That I'm like,
It's very good.
I've never had a critical thought about Back to the Future ever. I'm just like, yeah, yay!
Now we can.
So I'm very excited for that. Excellent. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us for this episode of the Outtakes Movie Podcast. I didn't fucking plug anything at the start of the show. Shit. But I'll do it now. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter by searching for The Real Outtakes. You can, if you haven't already, find us on YouTube by searching for the Outtakes Movie Podcast. And you can find us on all of your podcast apps by searching for the exact same. That's everything we've got. See you, bye. Nice.
Oh, wow, classic ending.
Bye.